Do you know how many images are posted online every day? 3.2 billion. And do you know how much video content is shared every 24 hours? It's 720,000 hours. These figures are mind-boggling, but they shouldn't come as a surprise. Social media platforms are, by definition, visual platforms. This means that if you really want to make sure your social content is accessible, you have to pay special attention to things like colors, images, and videos. Hi, I'm Arturo, and I'm a design educator here at Canva. This is the third and final video of our accessibility series, and today we'll be talking about how to make your colors, images, and videos accessible when creating social media content. When you're designing your posts, how do you choose your colors? Do you have a method, or do you just pick a color combination because it looks cool? Well, this is precisely what most people do. Unleashing your inner artist is great for your creativity. The downside is that your color choices may prevent some people from viewing your content and engaging with it, which kind of defeats the purpose of using social media in the first place. So, to help you understand how to choose colors more intentionally, we have Sarah with us from our accessibility team at Canva.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a front-end engineer on the accessibility team at Canva. My background is in user experience design and user interface design. So I use design and systems thinking, plus my lived experience as a neurodiverse person, to tackle our accessibility concerns at Canva holistically. The main thing to know when we're using multiple colors is that contrast is crucial for accessibility. Let's say, for example, that we're using two colors for our post, one for our text and one for our background. We want to make sure that there is enough contrast between the two. If the contrast is too low, the information will be hard to read. And that's not just for people with low vision or colorblind users, but also for anyone who's consuming content on the go where there's too much or not enough light around them. Now, contrast is expressed as a ratio. No contrast is represented as 1:1, where there's no contrast at all, for example if we use white on white. And it can go up to 21:1, where we have maximum contrast, say black on a white. So the question is, when do we have enough contrast? Well, the minimum ratio is at least 4.5:1. 4.5:1 is where the average 80-year-old will start to struggle to read. If you're wondering, how can I go back to the birthday invite that I sent to Grandma this morning and check the color ratio is at least 4.5:1, simply search for a color contrast checker online. There are plenty of plugins like this one. Select the foreground color and the background color, and make sure the contrast is more than 4.5:1. In this case, our post is good to go. Another great tool for your accessibility toolbox is a color blindness simulator. There are over 300 million people in the world with different kinds of color blindness. A color blindness simulator will show you what your post looks like to someone with color blindness. This visual, for example. This is how it's seen by people with red-green color blindness, which is the most common type, blue-yellow color blindness, which is when you find it hard to tell blues from yellows, and complete color blindness, which is when you don't experience any colors of any kind. You can find more info on color blindness simulators in the resources in our video description below. And remember, when in doubt, make sure your color contrast ratios are good, and then it should work for everyone.
Now that we understand color better, let's talk about images. We use images on social media all the time. We use images to inform, educate, pique people's curiosity, and so much more. There are two key ways to make your images accessible. The first one is, of course, to always add alternative text to your images. People that rely on assistive devices to navigate social media can only do so if your visuals come with an image description. LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram all offer features for writing alt text, so you really have no excuse for not doing it. We talked about this in the second video of this accessibility series, so if you missed it, check it out to learn how alternative text works. The second tip when it comes to images is less technical, and it's more about the kind of images that you decide to use in your posts. Think about the variety of people you represent in your social media. Do you make any space for people with disabilities in your posts? And if so, how are you depicting them? Are you always showing them as struggling and in need of help, or are you actually showing them living their lives? And when you do choose them, are you just focusing on obvious physical disabilities like people in wheelchairs, or are you including other types of disability as well? And do you show a range of ages, sizes, and colours, or do you tend to focus on a narrow range? Representation is just as important as getting the technical stuff right, so think about how you can contribute to a more accessible and inclusive digital world through your image choices. Through our Canva Represents Fund, we champion diversity in our imagery, which is freely available in our content library. To help you use more diverse content, we've put together a few photo collections as well as more information on the Canva Represents Fund in our workbook, so check out the link in the video description below. The last topic to cover is videos. Now, many of you probably use Canva regularly to create videos for your audience, and if so, you're on the right track. Videos are expected to represent 82% of internet traffic in the next few years. One of the best ways to make your videos accessible to everyone is by adding captions. Now, Sarah, back to you.
Yes, video captions are super important. According to studies, as much as 85% of videos on social media are played without sound, which makes captions a must for any social content creator. Now, captions are essentially a transcription of what is said in your video, but they can also include other details such as information on sounds or background music. The idea with captions is to provide the same level of information as you would get from hearing the audio. Platforms like YouTube provide auto-generated captioning for videos, which is great. But if captions aren't an option on the platform you're using, you can easily use Canva to add captions to your video. Check out the link in the video description below to find out more. When you're creating your own captions, think of course of all the principles we covered in our video series, like choosing a legible font, and making sure that your captions have enough contrast so they're easy to read.
Thank you, Sarah. We've covered a lot of ground in this video, so let's recap. If you want to make your social media posts more accessible, use contrast checkers and color blindness simulators to make sure your color combo is accessible. Don't forget to add alternative text to your images. Think about the pictures you're using in your social media. How inclusive are they? Finally, always add captions to your video content. Social media will be a better place for it. Hopefully, we've given you some ideas on how to make your content more accessible. If you're interested in learning more, watch all the videos in our accessibility series. And if you still want more, don't forget to check out the resources in the video description below. That's all from the Canva team.